So let's wait one more minute. Right, I believe that will be a time to start. Today we'll upgrade our AI skill. So yesterday we created the skill for analyzing a feedback, and today we'll upgrade this skill to analyze current feedback and compare it with the previous feedback from the same contact. So AI will be able to, the skill will be able to tell us what is the dynamic, if we are going in a good direction with relationship with this particular contact, and so on. So that will be the first part of our training. And after that, we'll see how that will go. Probably we'll reach to the time for the break. And after break, we'll create our agent. So it will be an agent which is checking for some activities from the current contact. If there is no any activities, and this agent will be able to suggest some particular email to this contact. In case if there will be some activity, we'll also get some more information. So this agent will be just, checking the relationship with this current contact. So it will be taking into consideration all activities. So that will be the plan for today. Yesterday, there was a question about this default Creatio AI model for the skills. Let me just show you what the question was about. So let's load. So here, whenever we are not choosing any particular model, we'll be using a default Creatio hosted model. And unfortunately, I still didn't get the answer for this from our product owner. So unfortunately for now, I don't know, but in case if any information will appear during our session, I will let you know, because I'm just waiting for the confirmation from our product owner. However, there was a second question related to the consumption of tokens for a different model. So the consumption of the tokens is exactly the same. I will still repeat that after creating our Creatio AI agent. So work on the consumption of tokens is based on the generated text characters. So whenever AI is generating some text, we are consuming 1 token per 4 characters. So that is the consumption model here. Okay, so in that case, I believe that we can start. I will be, of course, guiding you, so you can also do these changes and upgrade skill in your own environment. So before we'll start, let me just run the poll. If you would like to also follow after me in your environment, please let me know if you are ready to proceed, if you are logged into your environment, and we can start. So in case if you're just watching the training, that is also okay. But I would like to make sure that everybody are logged in and we can upgrade our skill. Okay, let me just wait one more minute. Okay, I believe that we are ready to go. So, how we'll start? Of course, we'll need to copy and paste. That will be the easiest way to upgrade the skill. So we'll need to access our for participants folder. So let me share it one more time in the chat. So here in this folder, please open our skills file, because that is something what we'll need for now. So we'll be using this V2 version here. Okay. So whenever this file is open, let's go to our feedback skill. So let's go to Creatio AI skills. And here, let's find our feedback tone analysis. We can, of course, use our search tool here. So let's open our feedback tone analysis for the case. So here what we'll do, we'll, of course, upgrade our prompt. So let's take the prompt which we have here. So let's copy this V2 prompt. Let's copy this V2 prompt. Let's copy this one. So from 14 till 17. Let's copy and replace our current prompt. Let's replace our current prompt. So how it is different from the previous one. So this time, your task is to help user identifying the tone of customer's feedback and compare it to the feedback of previous case from the same customer. The customer is the contact of a case. So we're explaining actually what the customer is. The dynamic is very important. Identify whether our relations with the customer contact are getting worse, the same, or nourishing based on the feedback. You will read text in feedback notes fields and analyze its tone. Identify whether it is friendly, devastated, neutral, or any or other tone you perceive. Then you will compare this tone to other feedback notes from the previous case that came from the same contact. Follow these steps to complete the task. Retrieve the current case information using the retrieve entity contextual data action. So that is one of the system actions for AI, which we're using. You don't need to ask user for the feedback notes. Always initiate starting with retrieve entity contextual data action. You only need information from the following columns: number, contact, and feedback notes. Use previous case feedback notes action to obtain the previous case feedback notes from the same contact and then compare the tones. So that is something new what we'll be doing. We'll be creating this kind of simple action, like we are creating a business process in the same way. So this particular action will be checking the previous feedback notes from this current contact. So that is something what we'll do in a second. So that's why in the prompt we have use previous case feedback notes. That is the name of the action which we'll create. And of course, the last step is provide user with the tone analysis. So that is our prompt. And now we just need to create action for getting this previous feedback notes. So in action list, let's click add action. Let's click on this plus and let's select create new. Let's create new action. So now, as I showed you yesterday, we will be creating this this kind of process. So what we'll do at first. So at first we'll need to name our process. Do I have names for this one? Yes, we have it. So in the skills file, you can also find a name for this action. It's previous case feedback notes. Previous case feedback notes. And these names are very important because our large language model is analyzing actually all the content it can access. So whenever we are calling the particular action, it's supposed to have this particular name. So let's name it previous case feedback notes. Let's put it as the name of our action. So as the next step, we'll need to set up the code for this particular action. So let's go to the settings on the right side and let's copy and paste code. Do we have it here? Okay, unfortunately, we don't have the code, but anyway, I have it somewhere else. Right, so I will paste the code in the chat. Okay, so you can copy it from the chat. That will be our code. So of course we need to code it in the particular way. All right, so what will be the next step? Next step will be our process description. So whenever we are creating an action for AI, this process description is extremely important because also AI is analyzing it. So that's why it is a huge recommendation to provide the process and description. So we'll avoid like any hallucinations and other unnecessary behaviors. So here in the row 21, we have our description. So let's copy this one. This function is necessary to obtain feedback notes from the previous case from the same contact. Let's copy this one. Okay. So as for right now, our action is prepared for creating parameters and adding something on our flow. So we have a description, we have proper name, we have proper codes. So at first, what we'll need to get? We'll need to get our contact, right? Because we would like to get the previous feedback notes. So we'll need to know for which contact. So we'll get it from we can say outside of this particular action. So let's add a parameter for taking this contact ID. So let's click on parameters, add parameter. Let's add parameter. And we'll be choosing lookup as the contact is a lookup. So let's choose lookup. And here, how we'll name it. So let's title this one as contact ID. Contact ID. And let's go to the description. So after calling it contact ID, we'll need to also paste here a description of this particular parameter. So let's take our customer is a contact. This is contact unique identifier in Creatio application. So we need to also provide some information what this parameter is, right? So here, as you can see, whenever we're creating actions, descriptions are very important because this large language model will be also taking it into consideration. Okay, and then let's code this so it can be contact ID, contact ID. Data type, it will be lookup. And of course, we need to choose the lookup. So of course, it will be our contact. So let's choose lookup contact. Right, so the lookup is contact. Direction will live as input, as this skill will be inputting this current contact ID from the lookup. So we'll leave it as input and we'll mark it as required. So here there is a small note. Whenever we are creating an action for the skill, and we are inputting some particular data, we always need to mark it as required. Because after our tests, we saw that this large language model needs to know that this particular input is required because it is also taking into consideration this field, if it is required or not. So let's mark it as required. It is not mandatory for output parameters, but for input, yes. So let's save this one. So this one is ready. Okay, so what else will be needed? So for now, we'll need to read this particular previous feedback. So we'll use our action and system action, which is read data. So from the left side, from the system actions, let's take read data and let's put it into our flow. So after putting it into our flow, let's call it previous feedback. Let's call it previous feedback. So we'll read the first record in the selection as we would like to read only one previous feedback. And which object to read data from. So our feedback nodes are in object case. So let's look for our object case. And now filtering. So of course we would like to read these nodes from this particular contact. So let's add a condition for this one. So let's add condition. And here we'll be looking for our contact call. So how to filter records, add condition, And from the case columns, we're looking for contact column. So let's click select. Okay. So now we'll need to compare it to parameter. So we just created an input parameter where we'll find our contact ID. So let's choose compare with parameter, and here let's look for process parameters, and let's select our contact ID. Okay. So everything will be good almost, because we can also sort our records not by number, but by created on, right? So here, let's look for our created on column in how to sort records. So how to sort records will be by created on. And we need to change an order to descending. So let's change it to descending. So now we'll have one small issue, because okay, we will be looking for all particular cases for this particular contact. However, the issue will be that on the top of this list we'll have our newest case, all right, and that will be the case which we'll be analyzing. So that's why we'll need to exclude this through our filters. And to do this, we'll need to create another parameter. So we'll need to get our number of the of this particular case. So let's create another parameter. Let's go to parameters. And here, let's click on add parameter. And we'll choose text, as the case number is a text field. So let's choose text. And we'll call it as the case number. Let me just check if we have ready description. Yes, we have. So as the next step, after calling it case number, let's copy its description. So you can find it in 24th row. Okay, so from the case number, let's copy this particular description. And let's paste it here. So the case number that is passed into the function to avoid reading data from the same case. And let's take care about our code. So let's code it case number. All right, and here the same rules as for our contact ID. So direction is input, and we need to mark it as required. So let's make sure it is input, and let's mark it as required. And now let's click Save. All right, so we already have our our particular input with the case number. So now we'll need to add one more condition to our element, right? Because we would like to exclude from this particular list, which will be reading data from this particular case. So let's add condition. Let's add condition. And here in case, we'll be looking for our number column. Number column. So in read data previous feedback, let's add another condition. It will be number. It will be number column. And let's compare it with parameter. Let's compare it with parameter. So let's go to our process parameters and let's choose our case number. Case number. And of course, we would like to exclude this one. So we need to change that it is not equal to, right? Number is not equal to case number. So in that way, we'll, of course, simply exclude this from our list. Okay. All right, so this element is almost ready. We have already proper sorting. We're excluding this current, the newest case. But we don't want to read it from all, we don't want to read data from all columns. We need only feedback notes. So let's change this one to read data from selected columns only. Read data from selected columns only. And let's add column. So let's look for our feedback notes. Let's look for our feedback notes. And let's click save. Let's click save. Okay, we are almost done with this particular action, but we need one more parameter. That will be our output for our feedback notes. So we would like to pass this feedback notes from the previous case outside of this action to our LLM, right? So we'll also do this through this parameter. So in that case, let's add one more parameter. So parameters, and it will be also text. Here, when we'll be setting up the particular data type, this data type should be the same as our data type for the column, which we have in our data model. So our feedback notes is a rich text. So let's click on add parameter and let's add text. And we will change it to our rich text. Okay, so let's add text parameter and let's change its data type to rich text. Or let me just, oh, sorry, I'm wrong because that is unlimited length text. That is unlimited length text. So it is not the rich text, it is unlimited length text. So let's make sure it is unlimited length text. And let's name it. So it will be our feedback notes. Let's title this parameter as feedback notes. And here we don't need a description, as I mentioned before in the previous parameters, because it is automatically checking whenever we are running an action and we receive some particular outputs, it is taking it into consideration. So in that way, we don't need to provide description here, but for input parameters, it is crucial. Okay, so let's change the code also to feedback notes. And let's change direction. So direction will be an output. Let's choose output. And here as the value, we need to choose this, what our read data element will be reading, right? So in the value, let's click on our lighting bolt and let's choose process parameter. And here we'll be looking for our process elements. And in the process elements, we will be choosing our feedback nodes from previous feedback element. So let's choose our feedback nodes. And we can save it. We don't need to mark it that it is required, because anyway, when this action will be run, then we will fill it with this particular value. So read element will put value here. So we can click save. All right. So we are ready to go. So let's save this one. Let's save this action. Let's save this action. And after saving it, let's reload our environment. So after saving it, please make sure it is saved. Let's reload our environment. All right, so now we'll need to test this. So yesterday, we were providing some feedback notes for Andrew Baker, as I remember. Let me just find it. Yes, for Andrew Baker. So we'll create another case for Andrew Baker. So let's go to our cases. And here that is the case which we created yesterday. So the feedback notes where your team wasn't very helpful or responsive. I was hoping for more. The contact is Andrew Baker. So let's create a new case. Let's create new case. And at first, for this new case, let's assign the same contact, right, which is Andrew Baker sample. In general info, we need to provide the subject. It can be test. And after providing the subject, let's copy, or you can provide your own feedback notes, or you can copy this one. So in case if you will go with your own feedback notes to see how does it work, the best will be to use to make this feedback notes very positive. So the previous feedback notes were negative, and let's make sure that this one will be very positive. So in that case, I have you guys were awesome. Thank you for all the assistance. And let's save this one. Okay. So in that case, let's test this one. So let's open this last case, which we have created with the positive feedback. And let's call Creatio AI. In case if you have any conversation here, please create a new chat. All right. And now let me just check one more thing. Okay. And now let's type feedback on analysis. Okay, let's type feedback on analysis to call this particular skill, and we'll see how it will react. All right, so here is my answer. So feedback for this case from Andrew is highly positive and appreciative. In contrast, previous case, feedback from the same contact expressed disappointment in support, describing the team as unhelpful and unresponsive. This shows a significant improvement in the customer relationship. The tone has shifted from negative to friendly and satisfied, indicating progress in nourishing the relationship. So please let me know also in the chat if it is working for you, if you're getting this proper analysis. So please let me know how does it look like in your case. Okay, it's good. Perfect. And that's the way how it's supposed to work. A little bit different, but it's keeping this this particular task. All right. Okay, guys. So I'm glad everything is working correctly. So now I will show you one more very useful thing in case of calling our skills. Because during daily work for our users, it will be not so comfortable to always write the same text here, right? As you can see here, I have some buttons, so I can call the particular skill just by clicking on this button. And that is extremely important shortcut. So in case if in the future you will be creating skills for your teams or customers and so on, it will be, I believe, almost mandatory to include this kind of shortcut here, whenever users will be using this particular skill. So how we can do this? We'll be doing it from the lookups level, and we can assign the particular shortcut to the skill, the particular button for the particular pages. Please have a look that whenever I change the page, I have a different buttons here. Whenever I will enter my particular case, I will have also the different ones. Because of course, Creatio AI always analyze this, what we have, what page is currently open. So how to do this? We'll need two codes to put it into our lookups. So the first one will be the code of our page where we would like to include this particular button. And the second one will be the code of our skill. So let me just find the code of this particular form page. So of course I will use the shortcut edit page, and I will go to our Freedom UI designer. So let's go all together to our Freedom UI designer. And here we'll have our page settings. So of course, if they are hidden, we can call it from the top menu, page settings. And let's copy, please copy it somewhere because we'll need it in a second. So let's copy this one, cases form page. So now I don't need this page anymore. And let's go to our skills, Creatio AI skills. So let's open Creatio AI skills and let's look for our feedback, feedback to analysis. Let's look for this one. And here we have code of our skill. So let's copy this one. Right. So this one is copied. And now, after having saved these two codes, let's go to our lookups. Let's go to our lookups. So in the lookups, we'll be looking for our Creatio AI page. Something, I don't remember the name of this one. However, when you will type in the filter AI, you will be able to find it. So the name of this particular lookup is Creatio AI skill in page. So we can use this name, Creatio AI skill in page. That is the name of the lookup. And let's open this particular lookup. And we'll need to add the new one. So after finding Creatio AI skill in page, let's open this one and let's create new. Let's create new. So here we need to only fill our skill code and page name. Maybe the name of the column is not the proper one because it's supposed to be page code. However, okay, I will. However, here in the skill code, I will paste this skill code. And in page name, I need to paste my page code. And let's save this lookup. So after saving this particular lookup, let's refresh our environment. Let's refresh this environment. And then, yeah, I believe it is somewhere in the bottom on the list. There it is. I will go back to my cases. I will open the same case. And let's go to our AI. And what I can do, I can create a new chat by clicking here in a new chat. And as you can see, I have my feedback tone analysis button. So I can simply click on this one and it will call this particular skill. So it is very simple, a very simple feature, but I believe it's extremely useful. It's extremely useful for the users. So that's the way how we can add these particular buttons. So please let me know also in the chat if it is appearing for you in this chat window. So please let me know if this lookup works correctly for you. Okay, perfect. All right, working as a charm. Okay, guys, so let me just check how many actions. Okay, we'll need to do some parameters and so on for our Creatio AI agent. So I believe that will start before break. So now we'll build our Creatio AI agent. So why we'll need to create AI agent? Because AI agent can do the particular tasks, which includes more actions. So for example, AI skill is able to, let's say, compare the feedback, right? To prepare some text, to, let's say, propose a particular, let's say, resolution for this case. However, AI agent can work in more complex way. So, for example, you can ask agent to, let's say, prepare meetings, prepare notes for the meeting, then create a meeting, find free slots for participants, and you can just provide the about this who should participate. So that is something what skill will be not able to do as the large language model, but agent has, of course, agentic behavior. So in this case, it can use a particular skills like, for example, finding a free slots for the meeting for all participants. It can use another skill for preparing this particular notes. It can also even send an email, right? Use another skill for sending an email with agenda, which can be prepared also by a different skill. So agents will be behaving in this kind of more complex way. So we'll create an agent which will be checking the, we can say, uh, relationship with the particular contact, but it will be analyzing the activities. Also, it will be able to suggest some solutions in case if there will be no any activities, and also it will propose to us a particular message which we can send directly to this particular contact. So let's go to our Creatio AI agents. All right, Creatio AI agents. And here in Creatio AI agents, Let's click on new in the top right corner. Let's create new agent. Let's create new agent. So as you can see here, we have except the same fields on the left side, like title, code, status, and model, which we have for the skill. We have also some additional, we can say, pre-prompts, we can say, for this agent. So we can describe what this agent should take care of. And that is also, of course, important, like almost each description in each field related to any skills or agents, to any AI topic, as based on the description, this agent, whenever user will be calling for some particular action, AI will be looking for the best agent for this particular task. So it will be, of course, it will be based on the description. Of course, we can also set up the role, like, for example, behave like an expert in communication with customers, right? In case if we'll be using like, in case if we'll be creating an agent for some communication actions, right? And then we'll be able to provide the agent instructions, which is, we can describe it as the particular prompt, and then we can provide some limitations and restrictions. So, for example, if we are working on sensitive data, whenever we have any sensitive data in our system, we can add here some information about this. Like, for example, do not provide sensitive data from this particular fields into the chat window, or do not use this for any analysis, right? So here we can do some kind of particular limitations to avoid any risky actions. So we can actually design this particular agent in a little bit better way than the skill. So that is something what we can do here. All right, so of course for each agent we need to assign some skills, and we can also assign, we can create some particular actions like we were creating before. So let's create our agent for checking the activities with this particular contact. So we'll call it a relationship health checker. So please copy this name or just write this one. Okay, so the title will be relationship health checker. And then let's provide all this information. So let's copy description. So this agent monitors recent interactions with a contact person. It uses an AI skill to check for activities within the last 30 days. And if none are found, generates a personalized follow-up message to help maintain client relationships. And let's add a role. So assist the user by tracking communication with contacts and suggesting timely follow-ups when no recent activity is detected. And our instructions. Here we have 3 lines of this one. So let's copy, paste this one. So use the designated AI skill that checks contact activity and drafts follow-ups messages, respond only about contact communication status and follow-up suggestions, return clear, concise messages ready for the user to copy or act upon. And let's add some limitations and restrictions. So do not generate personal data outside of existing contact information. Do not perform any actions that modify contact records automatically. Avoid suggesting follow-ups for contacts with recent activities in the last 30 days. Keep responses professional and helpful, avoiding irrelevant information. So that is the way how we are designing our agent. So of course, I believe in future, if you will be designing your own agent, that will require, of course, some tests. Of course, you can think about the idea what this agent is supposed to do, what is the particular tasks, what it shouldn't do, and so on. However, of course, after doing some tests, you can think, okay, maybe it started to suggest something from more than last 30 days, right? So let's add some limitations, or maybe we would like to get a little bit different answers, right? So we can modify the instructions, or in case if we would like to get answers in a different way or language, we can also modify the role of this agent. So we can assign it to the particular role, like behave like an expert in the particular topic, but keeping, for example, the language very simple for the end user. Okay, so in that case, we'll be going for the break. However, yeah, I can see question. Alex, yeah, I still didn't get the answer from our product owners. It will be, some one of the ChatGPT models. I found this information, but still I didn't confirm it. So I still don't have the particular answer about that. This one. And here we can keep it. We can keep it also with this self-hosted, as this one will work for this particular exercise at best. So that's the thing. So maybe after the break, I will receive some information about this default model, but still didn't get the answer. Okay, guys. So now we'll do a break. So please just make sure that you will save your agent. So let's save this one. Let's save our agent. Let's save this agent. Now we'll do a 10 minutes break. And after this, we'll create two skills for this agent. So that will be the thing. Okay, guys, so let's have a 10 minutes break. All right, guys, so let's come back from the break. So let me just share my screen. And if you came back from the break, please let me know in the poll. So let's wait 1 or 2 minutes and we'll continue soon. Right, let's wait 1 more minute and we'll continue. Okay, guys, so let's continue. So I have a surprise for you. We have a guest here for a moment. So we have my colleague Yuri here, who will be able to tell us a little bit more about this default model, default large language model used by Creatio here. So Yuri, can you tell us a little bit more about this particular default model?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hello everyone. I know that some of you know me. I'm also a Creatio Academy trainer. I see some familiar faces. It's great to see that you're keep your building your Creatio excellence and experience. Now, in regarding to the large language model that is used under the hood, that will largely depend on you and your choices. To simplify this process, to make Creatio AI immediately available to everyone, we are offering, as part of the package, a service provided by Azure. Essentially, this is open AI technology, and this is why here in models, in this dropdown, you can select between different versions of open AI technology. And sometimes when you build a new skill or a new agent and it misbehaves, you want to fine tune it, maybe changing the version because the latest not necessarily means the best one for a particular reason, right? Because, for example, ChatGPT sometimes can overthink, creating larger loops and making essentially its usage more expensive when compared to a simpler version. But I'll need a second here. But essentially, the technology of employing any large language model in Creatio remains the same, and it doesn't care for which specific large language model you're going to be using. Technically, even now, with this release, we can connect Creatio to any large language, not any, that's not really true, but to a lot of them because there is a special layer. Um, it's called Light LLM. It's an abstraction layer that allows Creatio to communicate with over 100 different large language models. Over 100 means most of them probably. I mean, those that are well tested and are actually ready to be used in business application. But obviously, the most used ones are available there still. You could potentially, even if you install Creatio locally, and then you also install your large language model locally, meaning that you will have to provide and maintain hardware for large language model as well. You can connect it to that using this light LLM. So out of the box, it's available as OpenAI technology, but in larger projects, maybe sometime in the future, to optimize the cost efficiency, you can actually either switch to something else or uh, even deploy it on site. That is, if I understood the question correctly. What is that? What you were curious about?
Alex, I believe that was your question, right? So please let us know if it was answered. Okay, that's
Perfect.
perfect. All right. Thank you, Yuri, very much for joining and elaborating on this. So we have delivered answer. So thank you again for joining. And now, guys, we can continue with creating our agent. Okay, so what we'll do next? Next, we'll create a skill for our agent. So here in our relationship health checker agent, let's go to our AI skills and let's click on the plus to create a new skill for this one. So let's choose create new. And now we'll be copying, of course, all the information from our file. So here in the row 65, you can find the name for this one. So it will be no recent contact activity. So let's copy and paste the title here. Of course, code will be filled automatically. And let's go to our description. So let's copy and paste description. So this particular skill will be monitoring our recent interactions with the contact persons by checking if any activities occurred in the last 30 days. So it helps maintain relationships by alerting when no recent communication is detected, right? So in case if we'll have any activities in the last 30 days with this particular contact, we'll be not using this skill, everything will be fine. But whenever we'll not find any activity in the last 30 days for this contact, then we'll be launching this particular skill. All right, so what else we'll be doing here? Let's type, let's copy and paste our prompt. So please replace the prompt. So what is the prompt? You are an assistant that helps maintain relationship with contact persons. use the generate follow-up for inactive contacts action, which we'll create in a second, with the current contact's ID to check if there have been any activities in last 30 days. If no recent activity is found, use the generate follow-up message draft action. That will be the second action which we'll create with the contact's full name to generate a friendly follow-up message. Return the follow-up message as plain text ready for the user to copy. So as you can see, I told you, I believe, yesterday that we can use this particular skills to design this particular behavior which we would like to get from Creatio AI. So in this case, we can design our own ways of using it, right? In case if we would like to, if we have an, we can say particular way of communication with customers, we can design it in our skills, right? So that will be one of this usage. Okay, so now we'll need to create these two particular actions. So for this particular skill, maybe let's firstly save this. All right, so let's save this particular skill. Right, and after saving the skill, let's go back to this one. So let's go back here. And now in the action list, let's click on the plus, create new. And how we'll name this first action. Of course, everything is in our file. So for the action number 1, let's name this one, generate follow-up for inactive contacts. Right, so let's paste this one here. And also we'll paste the code of this particular action. So let's go to settings. Let's paste code. And also we need to, of course, provide a description of this particular action. So we can find it in row number 90. So let's use this process description. So checks whether the current contact has any related activities within the last 30 days and returns as a result, indicating if recent communication exists. Okay, so what we'll need here? Of course, we'll need some parameters to input into this particular action. So let's go to parameters. And here at first we'll need our current contact information, right? We need to find this current contact. So again, we'll use our lookup. So let's add parameter. It will be lookup. And here, let's name it current contact. Current contact. That will be the name of this parameter. As you can see, depending on the resolution of your screen, maybe you will need to scroll a little bit. As you can see, I have two sliders. And whenever we are saving this particular parameter, sometimes I've experienced that participants were missing save button. but it is here on the right. Also, what you can do, in the top right corner, you can expand this window, right? So you can click here and it will be expanded a little bit. Oh, maybe that didn't help so much. But anyway, please check the sliders here. And also another way is just to expand this particular field. So I will do it this way. Okay, so of course we'll copy a description for this parameter in row 97. So the contact record currently open and triggering the process. And let's change the code. So it will be current contact. Okay, so we're leaving it as the lookup data type. And here in the lookup, we'll be, of course, choosing our contact object. So let's choose contact. And of course, it will be input. We're leaving value empty as we'll be inputting it. And as this one is an input, let's mark it as required. So let's mark it as required. And let's save this one. Okay. So the next parameter which we'll use will be the subject for an activity. So let's click on add parameter, and that will be our text field. So let's choose text. And let's copy description. Let's title this one as subject. Okay, the title will be subject. So maybe firstly, we'll just type the name. So that will be subject. And let's paste the description. This is subject for the activity. And of course we need to change the code. Subject. And this one will be an output, right? This one will be an output. Okay. So let's save this one. And this is our output. Of course, later on, as this is an output, we'll need to fill this with the value. But first of all, we'll need to read the particular activities, right? So in that case, let's leave it as it is. So the title is subject, description. This is a subject for the activity called subject. And it is output. As this is output here for actions, it is not required. Okay, let's move to our flow. So we'll need to use our read data element. So from system actions, let's take read data. And here let's call it read activity. Read activity. Okay. So we just want to check if there was any activity in this for this particular contact. So let's look for activity object. Let's choose activity. And let's set up a filtering. So of course we need to find activities only for this particular contact. So let's add condition. Let's add condition. And here we'll be looking for the contact column. Contact column. Please make sure you're choosing contact, not contract, right? So let's make sure it is contact. And let's click save. Or select, sorry. And of course, we'll compare it with parameter, with our process parameter. So let's go to process parameters. And let's choose current contact. Current contact. All right, so what more do we need? We'll have all activities for this current contact, but we would like to check if there are any activities in previous 30 days, right? So in that case, we'll need to add one more condition. So let's add one more condition. And our activity object has a column start, okay? That is our start date for an activity. So let's add condition, and from an object activity, let's choose start. So let's select. And here let's choose day. So from the list, let's choose day. And here we have an option previous days. So let's choose previous days. Let's choose previous days. And let's type 30. So it will be 30. Let's apply this one. And also, let's change that the start date is equal to previous 30 days. Oh, I can't zoom in. So let's change it that it is greater or the same than previous 30 days. Okay. And now for this element, let's also choose which data we would like to read. And here, let's choose read data from selected columns only. And let's add columns. So let's firstly find an ID. So let's read ID of this particular activity. and also subject. And also subject call. So in our read data element, we'll be reading data only from selected columns, which is ID and subject. Okay, here I'm not 100% sure if we need ID. I have it in my notes to select this, but yeah, the example was created by my other colleagues. However, let's keep it with ID. Okay. All right, so our element is ready. The last thing which we need to do for this particular action is assign value for our subject parameter. So let's go back to our parameters, and in the subject, let's click on the lighting bolt, and let's choose process parameter. Process parameter. And let's go to our process elements. And here from our read activity element, we will be providing subject. And let's click select. Okay, so this particular action is ready. So let's save this one. Let's save it. And now we'll create another action which will be preparing a follow-up message draft, right? So this action generate follow-up for inactive contact will be checking if there was any activity, and if there wasn't any activity, then we will be using this action, which we'll create in a second, to generate follow-up message draft, just to generate the message in the way we would like to do. So in action list, let's click again on add action, and let's create new. Let's create new. And here the same, we'll be copying and pasting. So in 111 row, you will find the name of this one, generate follow-up message draft. And then we'll copy code and description for this particular action. So let's go to the settings, and in the code field, let's paste our code. And also a description. So let's paste our process description. So AI action to create a message draft for contacts with no activity. Okay. And now, of course, we'll need some parameters. So as always, we'll need our contact record ID. So let's go to parameters. Let's add parameter. That will be lookup. Let's choose lookup. And here we'll title this one as contact record ID. Contact record ID. Let's provide some description here. So that is the unique identifier. Sorry, that is the unique identifier of the contact. Let's code this one. So it will be contact record ID, lookup, and the lookup object will be contact. And that will be an input, and it will be required. So this parameter is titled as contact record ID. Description is the unique identifier of contact. Code is contact record ID. Contact object in the lookup, contact object, input, no value, and it is required. Let's save this one. So as you can see, there is like the same procedure for inputting like the contact ID into an action. Okay, so also we would like to get this particular contact name. So we'll be outputting this particular name also to our agent. So let's create another parameter. So add parameter, and this one will be text. This one will be text. And we'll title this one as contact name. Contact name. Also, I believe it will be good to provide a description for this particular one, as maybe it will be useful for the model. So let's copy and paste this particular description. So here always the descriptions are, just helping an AI to understand what this parameter is about. This one will be an output, and the description is not mandatory. However, in some cases it can help. So that's the thing. Okay, and let's code this one. And let's change direction to output. Let's change direction to output. Okay. Okay, and let's save this one because we still don't have this contact name. So let's create the last parameter, which will be a draft of our message, which will be sending outside of this action. So that will be text. That will be text. So let's add another parameter, text. Let's add another parameter, text. And for this parameter, let me just check. Okay, we don't have anything to copy, so we'll just type this. So that will be our message draft. Message draft. Okay. I have some recommendations for the description, so I will paste it in the chat. So you can also paste this kind of description. So the message shown to the user in the AI chat. And let's code this one. And that will be and output. So here the data type is 500 characters. So for our training purposes, of course, it's fine. However, in the real case scenario, we'll be adjusting this data type because in case if the message will be like extended or it will be of course longer, then we'll be taking care about different data type. But for the training purposes, it will be fine. Okay, let's save this one. So we have our three parameters, and now let's move to our flow. So first of all, we'll need to get our full name of the contact because we have only the contact ID. So we'll use our read data element. So let's take read data and let's call it read contact. Read contact. And we just want to read one record from the contact object, from the contact object. And we'll be looking for the ID of this particular contact. So let's add condition. Let's add condition. And from our contact object, let's look for our ID column. Let's look for our ID column. And let's click select. And we have ID in our action parameters, so process parameters. So let's go to process parameters and let's choose contact record ID. Contact record ID. And here we will be reading only our full name. So let's change read data from selected columns only. Let's choose read data from selected columns only. And let's add a column. Let's add a column. And let's look for our full name. Full name. Okay, so in that way, we'll find our full name. And now we'll use a formula element to create this message draft. It will be very simple for the training purposes. However, of course, it can be more advanced, right? So let's use our formula element. Formula element. And let's call it reminder to reach out. A reminder to reach out. A reminder to reach out. Which parameter to set the formula value to. So here we'll choose this process parameter message draft. So let's choose message draft as a process parameter. And what will be our formula? So let's click on the formula. And here in the formula, let's open quotes and let's write hello, space, and close quotes. So that will be the first part of our formula. And then we would like to have a name of our contact. So let's add plus to connect this parameter. Let's add plus. And let's double click on contact name from our process elements, full name, sorry. From process elements, let's use our full name. Double click on the full name. And let's add plus. And here we can copy the rest of the text from our file. So let's copy this one. So I hope you're doing well, just following up as it's been a while since we last connected. Let me know if you'd like to catch up. Right? Okay. And let's save this one. Let's save this one. All right, here we're doing something a little bit different than I have written in my notes. For the recommendations, as for the recommendations for this exercise, I have written that we should use our parameter with full name. However, we are just giving this full name from our read contact element. So I hope that will be fine also. So after doing this formula, let's go to our parameters and let's assign the full name to the contact. Let me just check if that is necessary. Right. All right. So in the contact name parameter, let's assign this contact name from our process parameters, which is the full name, Okay. And that will be basically all. So here message draft will be filled with this formula. And let's save this action. So let's save this one. Let's save this one. And that's basically all for our agent. So let's test this. So after saving it, we can close this particular window. So our relationship health checker is ready. We have this one skill, no recent contact activity. And now we'll test it on the two contacts, one with activities and one which doesn't have any activities. So let's go to our contact section. And I have some notes that Peter Moore doesn't have any activities. So let's look for Peter Moore. Let's look for Peter Moore. And here we'll open our AI. Let's create a new chat. Of course, let's create a new chat. And here we'll ask simply, as we don't have, any button for this, can you check if there are any activities for this contact. Right, we'll see how this one will work. You can also write your own sentence. So we will see. All right. So as you can see, I've got an answer. And please have a look that thanks to our descriptions in our agent, we can see that this agent is answering, right? Relationship health checker. So there have been no recent activities for Peter Moore in the last 30 days. So we were just asking about any activities. And because we already set up to check the last 30 days, it was checking this. It may be a good time to reach out with a follow-up message or engage to help maintain the relationship. You can view or update Peter's more contact information here. Would you like a draft of follow-up message to send? So let me just type yes, right? And we'll see how this draft will look like. Okay, here is a friendly follow-up message you can use. Hello, Peter Moore. I hope you're doing well. Just following up, as it's been a while since we last connected. Let me know if you would like to catch up. So as you can see, that is exactly this draft which we created in our action, right? So that is basically the way how does it work like. Of course, we can also check it with another contact which has some activities. So let me just copy this particular message and let me go to another contact which you can check. So we can check Peter Moore because it doesn't have any activities, and Alexander Wilson has some activities. So, and also now maybe I will try a different approach. So that will be a small test. However, I'm not going to use a new chat. I will use the same conversation, but I will ask, can you check it for Alexander? Right? Can you check it for Alexander? Can you also check it for Alexander? That will be better. Okay. All right. And as you can see, it is also retrieving this data which we have currently open. So we can see Alexander Wilson has had recent activities within the last 30 days. There is no need for a follow-up at the moment. You can view or update Alexander Wilson contact here, and so on. Now, please let me know in the chat how does it work on your way, on your site. So probably will be getting similar answers, but it should be able to analyze this. So please let me know in the chat. Yes, Dirk, I believe it is possible. What you can do, instead of preparing this particular like formula for draft, I believe you can set it up in the skill. So let me just go back to our, maybe I will go there for the agents. It will be faster. So let me just go here. And here the skill is about this no recent activity. So here, instead of using this particular generate follow-up message draft, what you can do, that is something what you can actually test after the training. You can delete this action, which is generating follow-up message draft, you can delete this particular action, and you can replace this. If no recent activity is found, you can replace this particular part. Use the instead of using this particular action, you can say, please generate a particular example of draft, which user will be able to copy and paste. However, here there will be one very important information. You will need to have the full name of the contact in case if you would like to include it in the draft, right? So in that case, actually we'll still need an action which will be reading full name of the contact. So you can delete this particular one, or you can modify it to just read the full name of the contact. And then you will write a proper prompt like generate a sample message, which should be, and you can describe how this message should look like. And you can write, please include, and you can name this action, name of the contact, which you can find from this particular action. So yeah, that will be the way of doing that in this case. But that is actually a really good idea to do some experiments with this. So these environments will be valid for the next, I was generating them last week. So we can safely say that it will be, and this environments will be valid for the next 50 days. So you can play with this a little bit. However, there will be some limit. And that will be the last part of our training. So we'll just finish soon, but let me just find the part. So I don't think so. I don't think so. It is important. I mean, no, in the prompt, it will be important. As first, AI needs some particular information. So at first, it needs to, the most important will be order in the prompt. Because at first, we need to check if there were any activities. If there were not any activities, then we'll be generating this one. So honestly, maybe, no, in that case, yeah, we can also do it in this way that first you will generate a follow-up draft, and then we'll, oh, you mean in the action list? No, no, there is no any, the order is not important because you just have the regular list. I believe even you can set up some sorting here. No, you cannot. It is locked. However, that is just a regular Creatio list. So I believe it could be more important to do it in the prompt. So here the order is not important. Okay, guys. So talking about this, that you can use this environments for some experiments. Please take into consideration that maybe you will face a situation that you will be running out of the tokens. Okay, so here in Creatio AI and dashboards, you will see tokens usage, right? So as I mentioned, I believe at the beginning of the training, one token is around 4 generated characters in the chat. And here in Creatio AI dashboards, you will see all statistics related to this one. So you can see what is the amount of tokens available for you, what is the average tokens usage per skill, when we were launching this particular skills, how we spent these tokens, and also what is the token spent by skills. All right, I believe this one is very important because in case if you will introduce like AI skills and AI agents in your environments, I mean in your projects, then you will see which skill is consuming most of the tokens, right? So in that case, it is also worth to monitor this. And this one is another useful widget, like tokens spent by users. So we are also able to monitor which user used the particular amount of tokens. So here we'll be getting all the statistics about tokens usage. So in case if you're planning to do some tests in your environments, please also check how many tokens do you have, how many tokens did you consume, as you may be running out of the tokens. So I don't have the exact we can say information about our tokens offer and so on, as this is related more to the sales colleagues. However, I have some notes that we have a different subscriptions. So in the standard subscription, we're getting 100,000 tokens per user, right? 100,000 tokens per user. So here for this demo environment, we have 1 million in the environment itself, but for the regular plans, for the regular subscriptions, for the standard plan, it is 100,000 of tokens per user. And for professional plan, it's 200,000, and for unlimited, it's 300,000 tokens per user. So in that case, it is also not counted by the user usage. It's just the amount for the particular environment. So in case if you have 100 users in unlimited plan, in unlimited subscription, you will have 30 million tokens for usage, right? So that is basically uh, the way with the way of using tokens here. Of course, these dashboards can be modified as any other page here in Creatio. And again, this one is very important because in case if you will be using Creatio AI, it will be good to be aware how many tokens particular skills are using and so on, and just track this to not be out of the tokens. Okay, guys. So I believe that will be all from my side. Do you have any questions? All right, it seems that is clear. So, guys, thank you very much for these 3 days. Thank you very much for being active in the chat. So I know that you're still in front of the computers and you're following along. So I hope you enjoyed this training and you learned something more about our machine learning models and our Creatio AI solutions here. And you will be ready to use it in case if there will be a need. Of course, you can still visit our Creatio Academy guides where you can find some more detailed information. And I really invite you to do some experiments and use this and these tokens which we have in these environments and just to play with this as you can see. It can be extremely useful for the users, depending on the goals. So So thank you very much again, and have a nice day. Goodbye.